Hello and welcome to video 2 of the 12-week video topics. Today's topic, if you can't already tell by the huge title, is fueling before a session. And the reason I made this video number 2 would have made it video number 1, but I wanted to do the introduction. The reason I made it the second one is because this is so important whenever it comes to performance training and trying to increase your performance and move better, because if you feel before a session correctly, then trust me, your sessions are going to feel absolutely phenomenal. Okay, so what we're basically going to be going over today is why it's important. So I'm going to take you through why you need to feel before a session, when you should eat, and slash timing, because a lot of people get quite overwhelmed by that, like, when you should eat, when you should not eat, when you should stop eating before a session, all that, and different types of training you should be feel for and how long and stuff like that. And then the last one is what you should be eating based on your training. So just kind of like an idea of what kind of foods to aim for. Okay, so why fuel is important. Let me just move this out of the way. Okay, so you've maybe all heard this before. I use it all the time because it's so true, and I definitely need to find a better metaphor, but this is the best one I can think of. And it is, you wouldn't choose to run your car on empty, so why would you treat your body any differently? And that's just true. Like, you wouldn't try to drive your car without having any petrol, diesel in it, or electric. Have to do the electric cars. So why would you treat your body any differently? Your body needs energy to use during your workouts and also during life and daily activity. That energy comes from food. Not only will it help you provide you with energy, but fueling before a session will also improve your overall performance, as you'll be able to perform for longer without fatigue. So that's the main point I want to make, is that whenever you fuel properly before a session, it's not that you're fueling to kind of like, in a way, you are charging your battery, but it's like you're charging your battery so that you can perform for longer. Because what happens whenever you don't feel properly, your sessions don't really feel great, because you're going to fatigue a lot quicker than what you would like to. And that's essentially what feeling properly before sessions does, is that you can actually perform for longer because you're not going to fatigue as quickly. Fueling before a session is also going to make you more likely to train. Whenever you're hungry, you'll be less enthusiastic to do anything, but when you fuel, you will feel more inclined to do your session because you have the energy. And I don't know about you, but the amount of times that I have been hungry and let's say hangry actually, and the thought of doing anything is just not going to happen. But as soon as I have my breakfast, or as soon as I have my lunch or whatever, I have this energy, because obviously I've fueled myself and I've eaten something. And then I'm like, okay, I wasn't, I was just being dramatic. I just needed to eat something. Now I feel like I can actually do it. And that's a massive part, because you have to remember that food is literally your main energy source, and that's your body's main energy source. So whenever we deprive that, or if we not deprive it, because we're not going to do that, if we sort of just not fuel ourselves properly, our body's going to react to that in a way that's not going to make us motivated to go to the gym. It's not going to make us enthusiastic. It's not going to give us the energy to actually show up to our sessions, that even get changed to go to the gym. So energy comes from your food. Okay, so the big question, when you should fuel. This depends on a few variables. If you're an AM trainer or a PM trainer, personally, I'm an AM trainer. So whenever it comes to training in the morning, if you're not someone that can eat a lot in the morning, then opting for something that's like fast acting. But we'll get into that. What style of training you do. For example, are you going for a run? Are you doing weightlifting, or are you doing like high intensity exercise? So you need to take these in consideration, because you want your field to optimize your training and not leave you with a stitch or feeling lethargic and heavy and stuff like that. So we're going to break it down. If you're training in the AM like me, something carb based first thing in the morning to provide the most energy. Carbs is your body's main source of energy. Carbs are king. Okay, carbs are king. If you train in the PM, fuel from your meals will have provided you with a good base fuel, especially if you will be training post meal time. Sorry for that little punctuation grammar error. Perhaps squares bar or some fruit before your session will provide the right spike of energy you'll need 30 minutes before your session. So what this essentially means is that if you're training the AM, something carb based before you go to the gym, whether that's oats or bagel, banana, peanut butter, even just like some sort of carb based because obviously that's going to be the biggest main source is your carbs. If you're training like first thing in the AM and you don't have time to have a full breakfast, again, carb something like a squash bar. I'm going to give you a few examples at the end, but like a squash bar, bagel, handful of nuts, something like that, that's going to be fast acting 30 minutes before you do the exercise. And then the same with the evening sessions, like your meals throughout the day that you already have. Like if you're training after lunch and you're going to have breakfast and lunch in you, if you're training after breakfast, you're going to have your breakfast in you. So you want to make sure that whatever you feel yourself pre-training, pre-session is going to, you need to be thinking of your session, you need to be feeling for that. So style of training. If you're doing like a high rock / hit / run, a meal 1 to 1 hour before your session, or a quick release carb 30 minutes before a session. Weightlifting, you can get away with having a meal like at least 1 hour before, and that is carb based to provide the most energy. And the reason this really depends on person to person. An hour and a half to 2 hours is better for me whenever it comes to running or a hit session or high rock session, because my body takes a wee bit longer to break stuff down. But weightlifting, you can get away with an hour to an hour and a half, because you kind of need the energy more, so because you're going to be lifting a lot of weights and doing a lot more resistance training. But like I said, in the points to consider, everybody is different, so it is important to know your own body and know how it reacts to food. So like, for example, I know it takes my body a wee bit longer to break down food, so I have to wait a bit longer if I've had a big meal, whereas I'll just have a quick carb, fast acting carb 30 minutes before a session, and I'm fine, good to go. Matter how do you feel during a session? Do you feel sluggish or do you feel energized? That's a big one, because a lot of this and a lot of nutrition will be a learning curve, will be kind of like how your body reacts to it, which you need to be kind of aware of. Like I said, it's like I already know what I'm going to say before I say it. Being self-aware of your body is so important. So just be aware of your body. Like, write down how you feel during your sessions based on how you fueled. Do you think that you might need to fuel a wee bit more before your sessions? Do you feel like you need to have a meal and then another little snack just before your sessions? Or are you feeling a wee bit sluggish and heavy where you're like, I could maybe push my meal back and leave more of a gap between my sessions to feel the best? And it really just depends on how you feel as a person. Okay, so now the fun part. Here are some examples of quick releasing carbs to have 30 to 40 minutes before sessions to boost your energy. So for example, I go and I train at 6:30 on a Saturday morning, just being specific. The class starts at 6:30, so I want to have something at around, I can have something around 6 o'clock, and I'll either have a squash bar or a banana. Those are just my personal favorites. And I will be good to go, not get any stitches. I'll feel kind of energized and it'll fuel me for the whole session. Other examples is peanut butter, banana, and rice cake, also drizzled with honey, is perfect. Also a good carb release. And just bagels, whether you just have a toasted butter or toasted with banana and peanut butter, whatever you want. And then in worst case scenario, because they're not the best, but they are definitely good, especially if you're going for a run or if you're doing like a quick hit session, like a handful of sweets, whether that be jelly babies, squashies, what are the good ones? Fruit pastels are also good, just like something that's like high in sugar, that'll give you that like quick release energy, but not for too long, because that's why I don't really like suggesting sweets, because it doesn't last you for that long. But worst case scenario. And then if you have a wee bit more time, so like this is what I kind of suggest for if you have time to fuel yourself. We have scrambled oats, which is my favorite thing in the whole entire world. Pasta, obviously some sort of pasta dish, rice dish with mince, or just a simple chicken, lettuce, cucumber wrap with some mayo and sweet chili sauce. Those are all some examples that you can have. You will have got a recipe book and just have like meal inspirations, not so you can obviously take inspiration from that and stuff like that. But like I said, during this video, you have to be really aware of how your body reacts to things. Everyone's going to be very, very different. I feel very differently to how you're going to feel, and that's just something to be aware of. So just be really aware of how your body reacts and how you know yourself, because no one knows yourself more than you do, and just be really aware of that. But yeah, I hope that really helps. And of course, if you have any other questions at all, just you know where I am. Send me a message in the chat, because that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to make sure that you're fueling yourself properly, that you're learning the ropes of this lifestyle, and that you're just getting the most out of it. Because whenever it comes to this style of training, your nutrition is so important. So yeah. Thanks so much for listening and watching, and I will chat to you very soon. Bye.